Hello and good evening and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and this is going to be the Premier League review for this week. And I titled my video last time the preview. I titled the preview Goals Galore, and fuck me, did the Premier League absolutely deliver this weekend in some of the games. Anyway, we had some absolute bangers and we are going to go through them right now. So obviously we kicked off on Friday night with Liverpool versus Chelsea, or Chelsea versus Liverpool I should say, as we were away. Came out 2-1 victors in that one. There is a full review of that game, so if you'd like to check that one out, that's in the description below. I was very happy about it, still am very happy about it, and we can only move onwards and upwards. Now, coming into Saturday's games, we had Hull versus Arsenal, and Hull were basically torn apart. They really were. Arsenal were actually really up for this one. A little bit of concerns about some of the team selection for some of the people, but when you can't, for not including Granit Xhaka from the start, when you pay that much money for someone like that, that'd be like us benching Mane for like the first 4 games and then playing him like a little bit as a substitute and stuff like that. It would be unheard of for us to do it, and we would be absolutely fucking slated if we did it, and we wouldn't even dream of doing it. He's our best player. Granit Xhaka comes on and he scores an absolute belter. He scores an absolute screamer. Probably one that was on par with, if not a little bit better than Jordan Henderson's one against Chelsea. Absolutely unbelievable. 4-1 on the night. Hull, unfortunate, they came up against an Arsenal team that were actually up for it. It's one of those, it could have gone either way before the game, because you sometimes never know what Arsenal is going to turn up. And Hull obviously have some good fighting spirit, but they, it's one of those. Arsenal were the better team. Hull will try and pick themselves up, no doubt, but a very good victory for Arsenal. Next up after that, we had Leicester versus Burnley at home, and Leicester run out with their brand new signing as well. Comes out Islam Slimani, I think his name is. I think we were linked with him during the transfer window, but he went to Leicester and he banged in 2 goals. He could have had more. He really could have had more. He fluffed a couple of chances early on, but once he got himself settled, scored 2 brilliant goals. Really clinical finish in there, and then a third one as well for Leicester just to top it off. And it was a really good performance from them. Burnley had a couple of breaks here and there, but they didn't capitalise on them. They didn't cut through the Leicester defence as they could have, but Leicester were clinical, and it does look like the result that they had during the Champions League this week has actually kick-started them, giving them a bit of a kick up the arse to actually really start, going for it again and being the champions that they are. And that's what they'll have to do. They're going to have to work really, really hard. They're going to have to maybe provide goals, as they did a little bit differently today. They won't be able to do just balls over the top and stuff like that as they did last year. They're not just going to be able to do that all the time, but they did provide some very good goals, and it can only really be good for Leicester going forward. Burnley, on the other hand, they've got to pick up goals. They've really got to start scoring goals. Apart from when they played us, they haven't really looked very, very good. They haven't looked like they're going to blow away teams, and is it a concern for them to start with at the moment? I'm not entirely sure. I think at some point they're going to have to they have to click into gear, otherwise the same thing will happen a couple of years ago, whereas they might score a couple of goals here and there, have a good couple of goal scorers, but they'll still go down because they concede too many goals, and that won't obviously be very good listening for Burnley fans. Coming up next on the list as well, we have Manchester City at home to Bournemouth, and absolutely clinical. Like, Manchester City right now, and I'm going to say it, are going to be the team to beat this season. They really are going to be the team to beat. They are still unbeaten, absolutely unbeaten. It's unfucking believable. 100% record so far, I believe. They're absolutely flying at the moment, and you've got to give credit to them, because all these other managers and teams that I've got, and we'll come on to a couple of them a little bit later, or maybe at least one of them, in that they're saying that they're going to have to go through an adjustment period, getting used to a new manager. But holy hell, Guardiola's come in this season as well, just finishing off Bayern last year, getting players in, getting them around his training and stuff like that, and they're absolutely flying. They are absolutely flying. They are banging goals in. They're keeping goals conceded to an absolute minimum. Yes, they got a silly red card from Nolito on Saturday, but at the end of the day, they'd wrapped up the game by that point. They've wrapped up most games with like 15, 20 minutes to go. It's unbelievable what they're being able to do. They've absolutely, it's like they've been sponges waiting for all of this stuff coming from Guardiola. They've been expecting it. They've been building the club ready to come for Guardiola, ready to come, I should say. And they've all been like sponges. Everything they've been taught by him, they seem to be taking it in, week out. They are a scary team to play against. Unfortunate for Bournemouth, because Bournemouth haven't been able to pick up many points for love nor money. And as much as they can try, you come up against the Guardiola team like they have done so far, like today, on Saturday. It didn't end well. It wasn't going to end well. They've got too much quality. And it really did show today with a 4-0 win for Man City at home. And Man City fans have got to be absolutely buzzing their tits off. And I'm not surprised at all if they are. Coming up next is a weird one. Now, I don't know which way I predicted this. I can't remember. I think it might have been a win for West Brom. But no way. West Brom versus West Ham. And West Ham. What is going on with West Ham right now? Like, genuinely, what is going on with West Ham right now? I have never seen Slaven Bilic look so depressed on the sidelines. He looks absolutely furiously depressed on the sidelines right now. He is not really giving much hell to those players. Like when they get to conceding 2 goals, it's almost as if him himself is going, "Here we go again. Jesus Christ, what's going on?" And I'm like, yeah, I've got to agree. What is going on? Because they have, they have got a fair few injuries to deal with, but Jesus Christ. Like, to go from last week, where they were like 4-2, they lost 4-2 against Watford. They were 2-0 up, and they lose 4-2. This time round, West Brom scored 4 goals, and then they came back with a penalty and another goal, and I think it was another headed goal by Antonio. I mean, and they come back and they get 2 goals, and it ends 4-2. What is going on with West Ham? Now, obviously, before I go a little bit, I'm not going to say too much about that, but full credit to West Brom. They took advantage big time. They really did take advantage big time. That defence of West Ham just isn't built to cope with anything at the moment. It really isn't. It's an absolute shadow of where they were last season. And I would be so concerned. I would be concerned about what's going on with those guys, because they were one of the ones that I was actually pipping to go into the top 6. But this is why I've waited to do my table prediction. I've waited a couple of games. I want to wait till week 8 or week 10 of the Premier League and then predict what the table's going to look like, because we'll be able to look at where teams are sitting, and hopefully it'll make my predictions look a bit less silly, because West Ham I was going to be putting into the top 6 at least. I thought that they could have been pushing if they'd have kept their momentum going that they had last year. Yes, they didn't end very well, and I think they ended up finishing 7th in the end. But they had a very, very good season. It was absolutely unbelievable what they did, basically on the power of Dimitri Payet and the way he linked up everything. And that guy is trying. But the rest of the team has got to be kicking in as well. It's like that front half of the team is doing okay. The top half, I should say, the forwards and stuff like that, are doing okay if they've got the ammunition being fed to them. But the back half, what the hell? I would be so concerned. Full credit to West Brom, but West Ham have got to kick themselves in the arse, big style. Otherwise, they could be way down in the mire for most of this season, and they'll be struggling. Next up, we have Everton versus Middlesbrough. Another clinical Everton performance. 3-1 victors at the end of the day against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough got a controversial goal. Obviously, it depends what you can see as a referee. We see it in replays and stuff, and Negredo heads the ball. He heads the goalkeeper's hands, which then knocks the ball out of his hands, and then it goes in. And it's not obviously, it's at the end of the day, if a referee doesn't see it. That's the be all and end all. You can argue about it all day, all you want, but at the end of the day, Everton don't have too much to complain about, because they still ran out 3-1 winners. Could have been more. Could have been 4-1, 5-1. Could have been anything. Other than that, they've been brilliant. I think they sit second in the league right now, maybe third or second. I'm not sure. I think they went above Arsenal if they won their game. So, but I'm not sure where they are. I'd have to have a look at it again. But full credit to Everton. They've done so well. I think something like one of their best start in so many years. And Koeman has done an excellent job. There's no denying it. I try and be as unbiased as possible, obviously, as a Liverpool fan. And you've got to appreciate it sometimes that Everton have started really fucking well. They've got as many points as they could do. I think they've got something like I'm not sure. They've either got 10 or 12, something like that. I think they've definitely got a few more points than us. But full credit to Koeman and the work that he's done there. You see what he can do when he's allowed to bring in the transfers that he wanted to, which he probably didn't get to do at Southampton. Middlesbrough, an unlucky day at the office, really, because they've obviously come up against a team that is going to get banging form at the moment. Quite a difficult team to go up against, but Middlesbrough can hold their heads up high. They performed pretty well in the last couple of weeks. They've got goal scorers in them. I don't think they're going to be in too much trouble, but full credit to Everton for the win. Now we move on to today's game, and oh my god. Right, if I remember rightly from doing the prediction of this game, and this is the Watford versus Man United game, I predicted that it was going to be a score draw of 2-2, but if it was going to go any way, it would go Watford's way. I didn't expect it to be a 3-1 victory to Watford, though. What the hell? Now, I saw some sort of stat or something, it was a monetary figure that was on Twitter or something like that, that said that Watford's whole squad, plus their stadium, 63.9 million. Paul Pogba, 90 million. And, like, everybody can go into the fact that they disagree with who he's being partnered with in the midfield. And I disagree as well. I don't see why they're not, they didn't get rid of Schweinsteiger in the end. Why not give the guy a shot? Because when Man United played some of their best football, when Schweinsteiger was fit last year, and he ran that midfield, he was very controlling. He had very good control of the midfield and everything like that. Give the guy a shot. Why not? What have you got to lose? Someone who was obviously Germany captain. He was Bayern Munich captain, I believe, as well. I think so as well. I might be wrong on that one. He did okay when he was fit, and I know he's not going to stay fit all the time. Why not give it a shot? Everyone is screaming out. Even people on TV, people on YouTube are saying he operated so well in a midfield three. Why aren't they trying this? Because if that's what worked before and this isn't working right now, why not go to what works instead of trying to persist with something that doesn't work in the hope that he'll maybe adapt to it and it will work? Why not go with what works already instead of persisting with this bullshit? Because right now, when you're on a streak, a losing streak of 3 games, Manchester derby, you can kind of take that one. Yes, it's not nice to lose a derby. It really isn't. But when you look at the way Guardiola's team played, unfucking believable in that first half, you have to take, all right, we got 1 goal back. We didn't capitulate and we didn't get battered. We didn't get battered by 4-1 or anything like that. You can take that away and just go, right, bad day at the office, but we'll kick it into gear next time. Then you go and lose at Feyenoord. And yes, you did change a lot of the players round, but you still had good goalkeeper, very, very good goalkeeper. You've got some good people in defence who may be coming back into fitness. People are saying that maybe Daley Blind should have been playing in there in the Feyenoord game and obviously in today's game as well. What about Michael Carrick? Why not give him a shot? Because he's good at holding in that midfield as well. There's so many options that they've got. And I know I haven't talked about Watford just as of yet. And Watford, you were absolutely fucking clinical. Unbelievable. When I saw Ighalo miss that chance, and he missed it by a good damn way, and I'm thinking, what? Was that the chance? And then obviously Watford come back and they score. And then, credit to obviously Rashford, who's trying his hardest. And he gets a goal, brings it back, equalises. But then that defence is all over the place again, and Watford score, and then they score again. And it's just, you're looking at it like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm not doing it as a critical piece, obviously, as a Liverpool fan for Man United. I'm not an opportunist to turn around and say, because it could happen to us at any time. It could happen to us at any time. It really can. There's no point in me criticising a team and then it maybe happens to us next week or something like that. I'd really hope it doesn't. But they've got to start looking at what is actually going wrong, because you've got such a talented player, such a good player on your hands in Paul Pogba. You cannot waste that sort of talent. You cannot have him screaming at his own players like he was in midweek, and he's trying to give hell for people to give him some support and stuff like that. There's cries out for Wayne Rooney to come out of that team and give someone else a chance, and that might be an option, but I doubt it because he's your captain, and if he's fit, he's probably going to play. I don't know. It's a very, very difficult question to answer. Formation wise, could they change something up? I'm not sure. Could they go two up top? Go back to the old years when it would be like York and Cole? Why not? Give it a shot. You see how prolific they were. Why not try that with either like Martial or Ibrahimovic or Rashford and Ibrahimovic, which would be like the one that I would go for because Martial doesn't look at the races at the moment and he had a weird injury as well today. Had a clash of heads, tried to play on, went down, and just didn't seem to be able to. He just seemed to want off the pitch. To be honest with you, I don't know what the answer is. Watford, I'd said were going to be riding a wave of positivity after their result against West Ham, and they did. They were even more clinical today. They kept out, a good couple of opportunities, but literally, it was only, I think, something like 2 shots or something like that that United had that of note that they might have created a couple of chances, but they didn't have a very many. They weren't testing that goalkeeper like they should have been. And it's Aurelio Gomez at the end of the day. Yes, he's improved a lot since he was obviously at Tottenham and stuff like that, but missed opportunities for sure. And I think are United fans going to be panicking? I don't know. It's only 5 games into the season. There's still 33 games left to go. But when you're 6 points off the pace already, it's difficult to make up at the end of the season, middle of the season, at any other time in the season. And they've really got to sort something out. They've got some players that they could get in there. Mkhitaryan didn't look like he was going to be He looked like he was going to be better, but obviously isn't getting in the team at the moment. What are the options have they got? They've got a fair few other options. It just depends on the system, to be honest with you. And they need to sort out the Paul Pogba situation big time, very, very quickly. But a very, very unbelievably good result for Watford. Well done. They played a very good game. They did not fear Manchester United, and they took it to them, and they won. Very, very big credit for Watford. Coming up next, we've got Crystal Palace versus Stoke. Stoke, I do not envy you, Stoke. I really don't. I think if I've got to go back, and I'm just going to have a look back now. Crystal Palace scored some pretty good goals. They really, really did. So looking back at Stoke's fixtures, since Stevenage, where they won 4-0, they lost to Everton 1-0, then they lost to Tottenham 4-0, which is when Mark Hughes got sent off, and then today they lost against Crystal Palace 4-1. Now, conceding 8 goals in 2 games, you cannot do that. You really cannot be allowing that to happen at all. It's not, I can't say it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Not so embarrassing when it's Tottenham and who were in a title race pretty much all season last year. But to do it against Crystal Palace, who aren't known as being the most prolific. Looks like Alan Pardew's getting his little run that he gets about this time of the season when he's got a good couple of wins. But fucking hell, they're scoring goals as well. They're scoring goals, got some good goals as well. Stoke, wow. I thought they were on a bit of a bad luck turn at the moment, but I think the bottom of the table still, like after 5 games. I know it's only 5 games, but it's ridiculous. After the amount of talent that they signed, Wilfred Boney doesn't seem to be able to hit a fucking barn door, which, if they didn't know that from Man City, yes, he didn't get many opportunities at Man City, and he was clinical most times when he was in Swansea, but just not for me. Like, I just can't understand why, you bring in someone like that, but then you've got Peter Crouch, who can score some good fucking goals as well. Doesn't seem to be able to get a look in at the moment. Very good performance by Crystal Palace. Clinical, exactly everything that Stoke weren't. And they'll be absolutely buzzing at the moment. And why not? They've got some new signings. They look reinvigorated. They've got some, they've played some pretty good football as well. Very good result for Crystal Palace. But Stoke, again, they need to kick up the arse big time. And I'm surprised that Mark Hughes isn't being the one to do it, because he could kick arse all day long if he was on that pitch. Never mind if he's off it. So, I mean, they've seriously got to turn this around pretty quickly, or they're going to be in danger for a long, long time. And then next up, we have Southampton versus Swansea, and it came from a Charlie Austin goal, substituted on, obviously playing midweek and getting a couple of goals in the Europa League. And it was an okay game. It was a bit middle of the road, but I mean, at the end of the day, Southampton have come up with the goods. Charlie Austin gets a good goal. and they'll be pretty damn happy with that. Swansea, of course, haven't won in the last 3 games. Obviously got a draw against Chelsea and then lost against Leicester and then lost against Southampton today as well. So, I mean, they've, they'll come back. They'll do okay, I reckon. I don't think that they've really got too much to be concerned about so far. But, it's one of those. They've just lost to a Charlie Austin goal. It could have gone either way, really. But a good win for Southampton, something to think about for Swansea as well. And then the final game, Tottenham Hotspur versus Sunderland, and Harry Kane gets another goal. But Jesus Christ, something has gone on in that game today where you've got, I think, Eric Dyer, Moussa Dembele, and Harry Kane have gone off injured. And that is worrying times, obviously. They've still got talent in the ranks. They've obviously got these strikers in Janssen, and I think Son can also play there as well, although he's been playing a bit back behind Kane at the moment. Concerning, obviously, only because I think they've only just got Dembele back, and obviously having someone like Eric Dyer being injured as well, not the best for them, even though they got the win today. Obviously, Adnan Januzaj getting a second yellow and getting sent off as well for a silly foul as well. Not very good for Sunderland, but at the end of the day, I think it was up until about the 59th minute, Sunderland were in it. They weren't really, it's a Sunderland performance at the end of the day. Tottenham had much more of the ball, much more of the possession, controlling the game. But it came down to a Harry Kane goal. It's only a 1-0, but it's a win nonetheless. And they bounced back from the Champions League, obviously, from midweek when they got beat by Monaco. So they'll obviously be a lot happy about that. And they can move on to the next couple of games, which will be, it'll just give them a bit more confidence. Sunderland can probably take a bit of stock from the performance as well. It wasn't that bad, but they were just up against a bit of a better quality team at the end of the day. So hopefully for Sunderland anyway, and David Moyes, that they can start picking up some results, and they're not going to end up, as David Moyes said, being in a relegation battle. But I can't see anything else for them really. I think they probably will be in a relegation battle, to be fair. And that is the Premier League review this week. It has been goals galore in most of the games this week. It's been absolutely brilliant to watch. Fantastic to watch. Always great to know as well when you've kicked off on a Friday that you've kicked things off in good style and you can enjoy whatever happens on the weekend. It's absolutely brilliant. Love that. Friday Night Football. Big fan. So yes, if you've enjoyed the video anyway, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll be getting a prediction out and a preview and everything like that for the cup game midweek that we have against Derby. So look out for that one, and that should be coming on either Monday night or should be coming Tuesday morning, hopefully. So it's going to be one of the two. It depends when I get it recorded, basically. So, yeah, it'll be coming one of those two, Monday night or Tuesday morning. So look out for that one. Like the video, subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will catch you later.